Welcome to another guided demo webinar. My name is Quan Wan, and I'm from the product management team responsible for the outbound activities of cloud-native technologies in APAC. Today, I have with me Monica Riccini, who is the leading PM for the WebLogic on Kubernetes project. And she will talk us through on how to move WebLogic workloads into containers. Hey, Monica, how are you?
Hello, Quan. Thank you for having me. Today, I will be talking about how you can take your WebLogic domains and applications from on-premise environments and move them to the cloud.
And that's a very fascinating topic. Many customers are looking for a so-called lift and shift technology, something that would help move their WebLogic workload from on-premises to OCI. And I hope you will be able to show us that today.
Yes, I will be showing how you take workloads that are running in physical machines or virtual machines and move them into containers in Kubernetes running in the cloud.
And Monica, I have heard that the WebLogic teams has created several open source tools for leveraging the process of moving WebLogic to OCI. Can you spend a few minutes to brief us on these tools?
That is correct. We have developed the WebLogic Kubernetes ToolKit, which is a collection of open source tools that help our users migrate existing domains and applications, create images containing the WebLogic binaries and applications, deploy them to Kubernetes, monitor and manage those deployments, and then persist logging services and automate patching operations and application updates. These tools are all developed in open source, but our customers have 24/7 support for these tools with their WebLogic licenses.
Oh, that's really appealing. But are you able to show us on a diagram how these tools work together and how the end-to-end process of migrating from VMs to containers look like?
The tools in the toolkit help us take a domain that might be running in physical and virtual machines. We would use a WebLogic deploy tool to introspect that domain and application, which creates a WDT model and application archive. The image tool then creates an image that contains this WDT model and application archive. We call this image the application image or auxiliary image. This image then would be pushed into a registry in the Oracle Cloud, and then the operator would provision the WebLogic domain based on the WebLogic binary image and the WebLogic application image, and deploy or provision the WebLogic domain with all the resources and the application deployed to the domain.
Oh, I can see the critical aspect of this process is producing the image. Can you explain to us a bit more about the process of the image creation?
In the operator project, we support several patterns. The most enhanced pattern is called model and image. In model and image, we use several images. We use an image that contains the WebLogic binaries and an image that contains the WDT model and application archive, which were the results of the introspection of that domain that's running on-premise.
That is very interesting. I know Oracle publishes binary images to the Container Registry every quarter with WebLogic PSUs. So can I take advantage of those images directly?
Yes, every quarter when we release a CPU cycle, we publish images of WebLogic that contain all the security patches that have been released in that CPU cycle. The operator can take that image from the Oracle Container Registry and apply it to the domains that are running in Kubernetes in an automated fashion, in a rolling fashion, making sure that there is no interruption of work.
Right, this is really a great benefit, of adopting this topology. But are there any other benefits of using the model in image?
Yes, so model an image is based on images that are portable between environments. You can easily port these domains and applications between your development, test, and production environments, as well as across different Kubernetes clusters. This model and image isolates updates done to WebLogic from those updates done to the application. So every CPU cycle, when we publish new WebLogic images that have the latest security patches, you can ask the operator to apply that update in a ZDT fashion without affecting applications or your application images. This model also supports dynamic changes. The operator is able to apply in a dynamic fashion to the running server's configuration changes made to the domain. Because we are leveraging our tools and because this model is based on these images, we can embrace automated CI/CD patterns to do these updates. And then the operator also secures the domain by encrypting and compressing the domain and keeping it in a config map in Kubernetes. So no encryption keys are kept in the image.
Right, you mentioned automation with CI/CD. So how would you automate the lifecycle management of my WebLogic workload?
Yeah, you can automate updates to your WebLogic binaries by applying patches to the images that are in the Oracle Container Registry, or applying new images that are released in a uCPU cycle. You can automate updates to your applications, updates to the configuration by updating the WDT model, and then also to the topology of the domain by adding a cluster or adding servers to your domains. This all can be achieved through CI/CD pipelines and leveraging the tools that are part of the toolkit, leveraging the WebLogic deploy tool, the WebLogic image tool. When you have an update to either your binaries or your application or to your configuration, the pipeline would invoke the toolkit, like the image tool, to build either a new binary image of WebLogic with the latest patches applied, or a new application image that contains the latest version of your application that you have updated. These images get pushed automatically to a repository, in our case, the Oracle Container Registry in OCI. And then when the operator is aware that there are new images that have been pushed to the repository, the operator will apply these updates in a ZDT fashion or in a dynamic way to the running servers. After the update has been complete, then you can monitor your deployments in Prometheus and Grafana dashboards.
I see. So the WebLogic Kubernetes ToolKit UI seems like a very powerful lifecycle management tool. Can you tell us if there are any other capabilities with the toolkit?
Yes, the ToolKit UI is a user interface tool that we have developed to facilitate the entire life cycle of the WebLogic domain. It leverages the tools that I have been describing, the WebLogic operator, the WebLogic deploy tooling, and the image tool. And it navigates through the whole process from introspection of a domain that might be running on premise, editing the model and preparing the model to deploy to Kubernetes, creating the binary and the auxiliary images, provisioning the operator, then provisioning the domain or asking the operator to provision the domain, and then creating ingress rules to be able to load balance to the applications that have been deployed to the WebLogic servers.
Oh, that looked really easy to use. Can we use this to upgrade new releases of the WebLogic operator? Oh, by the way, what is the latest release of the WebLogic operator?
Yes, once there is a new image of the operator, the UI can be used to do the update of this operator image running in Kubernetes. Yes, this week we just released operator 4.0. This version of the operator has some very exciting new features. It integrates with horizontal autoscalers so that you can scale individual clusters of the in the WebLogic domain by using metrics. Those metrics can be Kubernetes metrics, can be WebLogic metrics. We have simplified the support for auxiliary images to make it extremely easy to deploy and update your applications that are deployed in Kubernetes. We have added diagnostics and events and statuses to help our users with monitoring their deployments. We have improved retry predictability and transparency, and now support setting resource limits for sidecars that might be running in the WebLogic pods where the WebLogic servers are running.
Right, that's great news. Can we see the WebLogic Kubernetes toolkits in action? Can you jump into the demo and show us how you can move a VM-based application into containers and then run them in Oracle Cloud?
Yeah, I will be happy to do so. So this is the WebLogic Kubernetes ToolKit UI, which navigates you through the whole life cycle, introspecting a domain and deploying it. So the first step would be to do an introspection of a domain that I have running on my Mac. So I tell it where my domain is, sample domain. So if you look at the console output, you can see that the WebLogic deploy tool is being invoked to do that introspection of the domain that is running on my Mac. This introspection can be done on a running domain in online mode or a domain that is not running in offline mode. So here we have it. This is the WDT model. You can see we have the domain version, I have a cluster, and then I have a simple application deployed to my cluster. I have my application archive. So my application war has been packaged in this WDT application archive. And then when the introspection was done, there are placeholders, which makes this domain configuration extremely flexible. And I can provide values for that introspection here. I can edit my model. For example, I can edit it through remote console pages that allow me to update the WDT model. So, for example, I can come to servers and I can change my port from 7001 to 7003. Any change that I make in my design view is then reflected in my code view. Okay, or I can make edits as well in the code view. So once I have edited my model to meet the domain that I want to deploy in Kubernetes, the next step would be to prepare my model to run in Kubernetes with the operator. So this is invoking WDT prepare model, which will prepare this model to run with the operator. Some of the things that it prepares are, for example, the credentials are transformed or converted from properties to secrets, because in Kubernetes, we keep WebLogic credentials and data source credentials as Kubernetes secrets, so that the operator, when it's going to start the WebLogic servers, it can go ahead and make reference to these secrets. So once my model is prepared and I have my application archive and variables, the next step will be to create images. So in my case, I'm going to use the binary image or the primary image that we publish in the Oracle Container Registry with our security patches. So in this step, I only have to create an auxiliary image or application image. I gave it a name. This image I will push to the Oracle Container Registry in OCI. I provide credentials, and then I give it the base image that I want to use as a basis to create this application image. In my case, it's Oracle Linux. You can use any base image that you like. So I'm going to create my auxiliary image. In this step, what's happening under the covers is that the UI is invoking the image tool to build this application image. So the image tool will take the model and the application archive, as well as the variables file that we introspected in the previous step right here, and create a very small application image that contains these objects. Well, now that the auxiliary image has been created, I am going to ask the UI to push the auxiliary image to OCIR. So I wanted to show you, I have in the Oracle Cloud, I have a cluster. This cluster has 3 nodes, each node in a different availability domain. Providing you with the highest possible availability. Okay, so if one availability domain goes down, then your pods will be rescheduled in either of the 2 availability domains in OCI. I also have my registry that contains my images. So for example, the auxiliary image that I'm just pushing right now from the UI. So now that the auxiliary image has been pushed, the UI allows you to provision the operator. So in my case, I provisioned operator 40. I already did that operation. So now it's the time to deploy the domain. So here I have my domain. I give it the name of the namespace where my domain is going to run. My credentials, then I can tell it, I'm going to use the binary image of WebLogic that comes from the container registry. And you can see that this image was published in August of this year, 0809. So it contains all the security patches that were generated in July. And its location is a container registry. So that's the primary image. The auxiliary image is the one that I just created and pushed to OCIR. And then I tell the operator that I want to run 2 managed servers inside of my cluster. And I can give other parameters like variables and some advanced features as resource allocation, CPU limits, etc. So let's deploy this domain. So what's happening under the covers is that the UI is creating the domain custom resource that specifies the name of the images that are going to be used by the operator to start and provision the domain, and the number of managed servers that, for example, I want running inside of the WebLogic cluster. While the domain is deploying, I'm going to go and show you the remote console. The remote console is an open source console that is part of the WebLogic Kubernetes ToolKit, and that can be used to connect to many domains. It doesn't matter where those domains are running. So the domains could be running in Kubernetes, or it could be running on a Linux box, or it can be running locally on my box. We have also enhanced the remote console to allow it to edit or create WDT models using well-known pages that you use to configure your WebLogic domain. So to make it very simple for our users to create these models. So you can see you can create your servers, you could create your data sources from these models. You can have active grid link data source, and set your connection pools, your URL. It has a wizard that helps you through the process of creating these data sources, just like you would when you're configuring your WebLogic domain. Alrighty, so my domain has been deployed. So I can get the state, I had talked about operator 40, providing all these diagnostics and events and statuses. So now I can get the domain status from those events and diagnostics that are published by the operator. And we can see, where in the process of provisioning we are. So you can see that the domain is being deployed. We don't have any errors. Everything looks good. So let's go and look where we are in the process of deployment. Okay, so the operator already created the domain and created all the services that are required to communicate to the WebLogic servers, and it's now starting the admin server. So it will start the admin server first. Once the admin server is running, then it will then start 2 managed servers, because that is what we requested the operator to start. So let's give it a few seconds for the admin server to come to running state. The pod is already running, and then the server will come up. Okay, as soon as the admin server comes to running state, now the managed servers, 2 managed servers, as you can see, managed server 1 and 2, are coming to running state. So that means that we can already connect from the remote console to our, the next step is to create the ingress rules in order to route to our servers. So I am creating 2 ingress rules, one for the remote console and one to reach the application. So let's update those ingress rules. Okay. So now we can go to the remote console and connect to the sample domain. So let's see. Okay, now we are connected to our domain. So we can go, you can see there's 3 views. There is the edit view for the configuration view tree alone and monitoring. So let's go to monitoring. Let's look at our servers, what the running state of them are. So we have 1 admin server running and 2 managed servers. You can also see in the WebLogic version that this corresponds to the image that has the August security patches applied to them. That comes from the Oracle Container Registry. That has been, that image has been used directly by the operator to provision the WebLogic domain. Yeah, so following, I'm going to show how I can auto-scale by just changing the number of replicas of the servers. So let's first reach the application. So I can come here and this will route me to the application. And I can show you that I can load balance between servers 1 and 2. You can look here at the name of the server, server 2 and server 1. So those are the servers where the application has been deployed to. Let's now auto scale. So all I have to do is edit the number of replicas from 2 to 3 and ask the operator to the UI to update the number of replicas. As soon as the operator sees that you want additional replicas run, it will match the desired state by running an additional managed server to the WebLogic cluster. Okay, now that now the operator should go ahead and start a 3rd managed server. Here you see it. It's coming up. As soon as it's coming up, we can see we can auto load balance. The load balancing will adjust automatically to also load balance to the new added server in the WebLogic cluster. Let's give it a second until it comes up. Okay, so managed server 3 is running. So now I should be able to automatically load balance to this new server that is added to the WebLogic cluster. There it goes, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the next thing I want to show is that automated update of the WebLogic binaries. So I will change my primary image to be the one that we published in the latest, in the October CPU cycle. So that would be, and that is in the Oracle Container Registry. So that would be 1014. Let's now deploy this domain. So this, what's happening under the covers is that we are letting the operator know that we wanted to apply the newest version of the WebLogic image that contains the October CPU security patches applied to it. So we will see that the operator then will pull the image from the container registry, and in a rolling fashion, it will update the WebLogic servers one by one, starting from the admin server and then one managed server at a time. As you can see, it's terminating the admin server, okay? And then it will bring it back up based on the new image of that the operator pulled from OCR. And then once the admin server is running, it will do one managed server at a time. It will terminate them in a rolling fashion so that there is no interruption of work while the update is taking place. Okay, so now you can see that it's terminating managed server 1 and the admin server has come to running state. So let's look at the remote console. Come back to servers. Admin server, so I can go into the admin server and look at the version. It shows me the patches that have been applied to the admin server. So you can see here that the patches belong to the October CPU cycle. So you can see that the operator has taken the image that has the October security patches and applied them in a ZDT fashion to the WebLogic domain, to all the different servers. So now it's terminating managed server 2, and once managed server 2 is done, then the entire cluster or domain would have been updated. And that concludes my demo.
Okay, Monica, that's a very impressive demo. It is a really good example of a lift and shift technology that many customers are looking for today to move their WebLogic workload to the Oracle Cloud. And Monica, I have a question for you. I know that Oracle also delivers WebLogic to OCI customers as marketplace images. Do we have a marketplace image that focuses on containerization?
Yes, we do. Our marketplace offering on OCI is called WebLogic for OKE. This offering leverages the tools that we have been describing today, the WebLogic operator, the WebLogic deploy tooling, the WebLogic image tool. So all the tools that make part of the WebLogic Kubernetes ToolKit to deploy WebLogic domains and applications in OKE. There's an added benefit. This service provides pipelines that allow you to provision your WebLogic domain, as well as apply updates to your applications and domains in OKE.
That's really good. So it is easy to do lift and shift and easy to automate the process with the marketplace images. And this will make the lift and shift process much easier. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, thanks for today's session. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration today, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.